Hey guys, my name is Charlie, and in this video I'm going to be covering some ways to spice up your program drum tracks, focusing today on the kick drum. So with programmed kick drums, what you do largely depends on what type of music you're working with. For this video, I'm going to be giving tips for working broadly with rock music. So the main thing that gives songs their groove in pretty much any genre of rock is the interplay between the kick and the snare. So once you've decided where your snare is going to go, it's always worth playing around with different ideas for kick placement. And before I dive in here, I will say that it is super helpful if you can have like rhythm guitar scratch tracks to program to, because otherwise you're just programming drums in the abstract and you'll likely have to go back in and change them later. So this way it means you can actually compose the drums in context with the guitars, knowing roughly what the song will actually sound like rather than laying drums to nothing. So I've written this short guitar groove and programmed some very, very simple drums to it so that we can use this as our bass line. Let's take a listen. And then it repeats. So as you can see, I programmed the snare to be in half time, so there's one each bar. And the kick, I'm just, for now, accenting the chugging on the guitars. So the first thing I like to ask myself when I'm programming drums for rock music is my drummer using a double kick pedal? Because if he is, it means, of course, he can play faster bursts of kick. So I'm going to find a part in this groove where that could potentially work, and I'll show you what I mean. So leading into this snare that has nothing coming up before it, we're going to try a couple of different things with the kick. So if he's using a single pedal, it would probably go something like this, which already changes the feel of the groove. If we move it there to the 16th note, this will probably not work because the groove is playing very heavily in eighths and there aren't any 16ths apart from the drum fill, so this will probably sound strange. Yeah, see, that doesn't work. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to try it with double kick. So we got two 16th note kicks just before that snare hit to accent it. Let's see what that sounds like. So I quite like that. I don't think we're going to want to go any faster, but let's try it, because this is something that certain drummers do quite a lot. So we're going to use triplets, and when doing this, I like to switch the grid off, so we use slip editing, because if a drummer is sort of going to go into the snare, they're not thinking, okay, these are 16th note triplets. They're just kind of doing a quick burst on the kick. So it doesn't have to be perfectly lined up, and it probably shouldn't be perfectly lined up. Let's have a listen. So that's giving more of a sort of metalcore breakdown type feel, which I don't think is very appropriate for this piece. And if we wanted to get even more extreme, we could use 32nd notes. So this is something that Mike Portnoy in particular does a lot, and also in the more extreme side of rock and metal, Spencer Pruitt from the band Archspire, he does this all the time. And for that kind of music, it sounds fantastic. For this, though, it's too busy and it's too intense. So I'm going to go back to just the double kick. So then just before this snare fill, I'm going to try a couple of different placements for a single kick, and we'll see how that sounds. Because there, see, it feels like the fill just comes out of nowhere, which doesn't really flow very well, and it feels, well, it feels very programmed and not like something a drummer would actually play. So if we just put that kick right there, see, even that is better, but I think there's more that we can do. So here we've got these two kicks, which are on the offbeat, which accent the chugging on the guitar. So what we can do is on the drums, we can continue that pattern and have it lead into the snares. Let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, I like that a lot. And then what I would potentially do here is I'd add a couple of accent symbols, like maybe a splash or a china or something. And then another quick helpful tip for programming kick drums is if you've got, like here, we've got two 8th notes back to back, the drummer is likely going to be playing that with one foot. So what he's not going to be doing is going like that at the exact same volume. He's going to lead into it. And you can play around with this and go harder, softer. It's entirely up to you. But usually I find it's better to go too far and then pull it back rather than just nudge it by, like, I don't know, a velocity of 5 or something. You want to go too far and then you can hear it properly and then pull it back. I think about there sounds right. So anyway, that brings us to the end of this video. I'm going to cover some other drum programming tips for spicy drums in future videos, so be sure to check out the Brickwall Sounds website, Facebook, and Instagram to make sure you don't miss them. Let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you soon.